Right, hello. The Postman, the Kevin Costner film, The Postman. I'm doing a decode on it, if you haven't already guessed. It's absolutely loaded, plumb loaded. There's so many connections to everything that's going on, and this upcoming date of the 13th of February. And there's several other little connections back in with other dates as well that are on the run up to the 13th of February, okay? I thought I'd seen this film. I wasn't even going to watch it. It kept showing up in my feed, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I think I might have seen that film already. I'm not really that, like, it doesn't sound good. Okay, The Postman, it just doesn't sound good. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch it. Anyway, I took a hint from reality. This is another show that I watch. Another guy that I watch on YouTube. Road Trip Revivals. He just happened to. He's a dude that lives in France, and he's forever picking up these little micro cars. And he got this one, and he's an English dude living in France, by the way. And so he puts this sticker on the side of this car he's getting going to drive home. But to cut a long story short, what we have here is a Postman Pat reference. So I'm getting this Postman Pat reference again, you know, from other channels. And then he, subsequently to this, he gets another micro car that is actually in the shape of the Postman Pat van. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're not English, there's this kids program called Postman Pat. Okay. Now, this happens to be a personal reference for me as well, because my father actually worked on a mail train, sorting mail back when he was younger, and his name is Pat, you know, was Pat, you know, he's passed away now, but it's a reference for me. Postman Pat, my father, it's a reference for me, okay? And in fact, as kids as well, we do a lot of like horse shows. Okay, if you heard me talking on the channel before, you'll know that I've got connections. I've got a lot of horse connections. Okay, and so we do fancy dress on you know, at these horse shows, and many times we would dress up as Postman Pat. Postman Pat was, and it was always a winning costume. Okay, so it's just little organic references here, and this is, you know, this isn't, you know, this is, what am I trying to say? This is reality showing me something here. This is saying to me, hey Dan, you probably should check out this film. So I finally break down. I'm like, okay, I want to watch the film. This is a long way to get to the start of this video, but anyway, I made it through quite a bit of the film, and of course got to the end of the film, and there is a dam reference at the end of the film. And here he is, Kevin Costner, the postman, and he is just zip-lined, or he's zip-lining off, yeah, Erica Kirk style here, off the top of this dam. Okay, it's got the water flowing through the spillways here. Okay, I just couldn't believe it when this shows up in the film. Okay, and so some of the characters, we'll talk about some of these characters here, and some of the references are just insane in this thing. Okay, I just want you to make a note of this, where this point in the film where he starts ziplining. Let me just back up just a second. Right, you see this? We're on 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 26 seconds at this point, yeah, in the film. This is so important with what I'm going to show you here in a minute. This 26 reference, okay, and this is where he's coming off the dam here, okay, or at least one of the shots where he's coming off the dam, okay, because they show a couple of bits where he shoots off of here. So anyway, I had thought about doing certain clips through here, but there's so many little bits and pieces in this entire film. We would be here all night, me trying to show you where these numbers are. You know, as we go through these number jumps, I will try and reference, you know, if I've seen them in the film or not. But what I will say is, right at the start of this film, They set the year as 2013. The first numbers we see in this film is the year 2013 written on the screen. Okay, so we've already got a 213 reference right at the start of this film, and this is a post apocalyptical type film. Okay, so this is interesting with even just the wordplay of postman. Okay, where do we go with this? Okay, I think what I need to preference before I say anything, before I do anything else, is also that we are looking maybe at the Hoover Dam around the 13th of February for some kind of collapse thing, and some kind of big event at the Super Bowl on 2/8. And there's also this film is also encoding the date of the 31st of January, which is a date that I've looked at before for Madonna. The 31st of January. Why? Because of the train in Back to the Future with the 131 on it. Okay, so the 31st of January, super duper interesting that it's getting encoded in here as well. And what do I want to say about the 31st of January? Yeah, we're going to do some number jumps here in just a second to do with that. And there's actually a really interesting one. Maybe we should just go do that now. But that's what, so, you know, maybe something to do with Madonna with that date, maybe. Okay. Let's just go through some of this stuff and we'll have a look. Okay. So the first thing is, with the 31st of January, before we really get into the decode, I just want to note this, right? In Back to the Future, the 5th of November is the conception. This is when Doc conceives the idea of time travel. This is essentially the birth of the DeLorean at this point. Okay, right? I say the birth. It's the, yeah, I would say the conception of it. Yeah. So this is when it first becomes into being, even though it's not actually manifested as the DeLorean yet. Remember, Doc says when this baby hits 88, he's talking about the DeLorean. Well, maybe, or maybe another baby. You know, who knows? Or maybe he's talking about Marty on the 12th of November. But I'm just saying, he could also be talking about the actual DeLorean itself. And this would be, or the time machine, this would be the birth of that idea right here. 88 days from that date is the 131. This is the number we see on the side of the train that is destroyed at the end of Back to the Future 3. Okay, before the DeLorean is destroyed by another train. Okay, so this is important. Yeah, I just wanted to reference this because when I see this 131 show up. Right, crack on, Dan. This is the Super Bowl 88 day number jump from the night of the thunderstorm. This is the rebirth of Marty. Okay, you'll see that in the decoding with Cody Super Bowl decode. And then there is one more 88 day jump that I think I've shown this one before, but anyway, maybe remind people of, which is our 11/18 midpoint date, which is to do with Lucas numbers, which we're going to be talking about here again in a minute, because 213, our date for the potential date for the Hoover Dam coming up. You know, this point here, this is our balance point, yeah, our 5 and 6 columns. This is our balance point, 1118. Okay, 88 days from this particular date will take us through to this particular date. So this is fascinating stuff as well, especially to do with Back to the Future, because you will see 118. You'll see actually 118, not 1118, but you'll see 118 on the clock. 118 is an abbreviation, in my opinion, of 1118 to a certain extent. Right, there's also some interesting stuff with Kevin Costner with this. We'll get onto that in just a minute as well. So just bear that in mind, because you've got to kind of keep a lot of this stuff in the back of your mind as we go through. I'll try and re-reference back to it, but it's going to be difficult. Oh, and well, one last thing, okay? We've just had Christmas. I will also just point out the importance of this number line with Lucas numbers and Christmas, because there's a little Christmas decode in here as well. Somewhere in the back catalogue you can find that as well. But if we go from this date, 213, so we're going to separate that out first from the number line, and then we're going to take these numbers here, and actually what I need to do is we actually need to add up, oh, this thing isn't working, all of these numbers right here, and if we add these numbers in this box up, they are going to come to 315. Okay? Now, if I go from 213 and add on 315 days, it's going to take us to, let's see, let's wonder what day that's going to take us to. Let's click onto the number jump and I'll show you. 213, we go 315 days, and it will take us to Christmas. So Christmas is encoded in Lucas numbers. Okay, so that is also important to bear in mind. In Lucas numbers, Christmas is encoded in there. And also one other thing to note, you know, with, let me just get rid of this a second. You know, 213 is the 44th day of the year. 1117 is 44 days left in the year, and you can do either 1117 or 1118, and that's that jump again. Add on 88 days, going to take you to 213, which is 2 lots of 44. Yeah, you should follow what I'm saying. All right, way too much waffle down. I like we can actually start the decode down. Just while we're on the subject of 131, again for Madonna, her birthday is, from her birthday through to 131 is 168 days. Same numbers as her birthday, yeah, 168. And Madonna's birthday through to Christmas, yeah, Madonna and the Christ, yeah, the Virgin Mary and the Christ, 131. Okay, 131 days. So just bear that in your mind. Right, Postman, the film. Let's have a look at it real quick. Okay, we've got Kevin Costner. Here's his mule at the start of it, yeah? The mule, a cross between a donkey and a horse, yeah? The Christ-like reference here. I mean, it would have looked a bit odd if he'd been walking around with a donkey. But anyway, you know, a reference to the sort of the donkey, back to the donkey. Anyway, let's see. Christmas release, 97. 177 minutes long. This is important with this 17. The 17 numerology in here is super duper important, right? I'd say the best thing to do actually is probably watch. Well, there are going to be a few spoilers in here. Well, actually, there might not be, but I would say it's worth watching the film. I mean, I wouldn't say it's an exactly brilliant film, but it is kind of all right. I could sit through it again. Let's go through some of these numbers with this thing. So before we get into all the characters and everything, just bear that in mind. The 17 numerology, again, Christmas referenced in here, and yeah, comes out the same year that Diana dies as well. I don't know if I've got the Diana number jump in here or not. I've got a bunch of number jumps. We'll just go through them as they come. We've got several characters in here as well, which I probably ought to talk about. Will Patton. He is the antagonist in the film. He's the baddie. Look at his birthday, June 14th. Okay, and again with the Pat, with the Postman Pat. This is interesting with the Pat. Okay, but he's the baddie dude. He's a few years younger than Donald Trump, but no, he's 71 right now. So this is also pretty interesting, right? So who else we got in here? Next character on the list. Oh, I don't even think I've got his number jumps in here. I might have to just talk about this dude. Lorenz Tate. He plays a sort of younger character in the film that is inspired by the Postman. And I don't think I've got his. Actually, I don't. There was an interesting number jump with him, but I don't know what I've done with it. So we're probably not even going to talk about this dude actually. But notice he's got the Queen. Notice we've got the Queen reference in here with the September the 8th. And then we've got Kevin Costner. Okay, notice the year he's born, 1955. And we've also got the 118, the January 18th. So this is really important with Kevin Costner because, again, you know, when we're looking at him, you know, we're looking at numbers that exist right here in the chart of Lorraine, okay, that exist within the guise of Lucas numbers here. So very important indeed. I've got a little number written down here we'll get on to in a second as well, okay. But Kevin Costner. Let me show you something of Kevin Costner in just 1 second. Tom Petty's in the film, okay. He happens to be the dude that's in charge of the dam, or the dam city, or whatever they call that part. I think that's what it's called, something like Dam City, or something like that. He's in charge of that place, right? Look at the birthday, okay? 20th of October, yes, that's Herbert Hoover's death date. Hoover, we're getting the Hoover reference here. We got Kamala Harris, we've got Snoop Dogg on that day as well. But this is super duper interesting, right? We've got a song that is referenced in the film. Please, Mr. Postman, okay? And this is done also by the Beatles, covered by the Beatles as well. Look at the release date on that. Dead on JFK's assassination date, year as well, okay? That's kind of interesting. The recorded date here, 30th of July, that shows up with some references to the Last Post. Okay, well, we might talk about the Last Post, but that is that sounding of the trumpet. Sounds a bit ominous, doesn't it, with the end of days, the sounding of the trumpet. And again, the trumpet, Trump, and also the apocalyptical side of things. But what was I going to say? Yeah, there's a poem, I guess. I think it was there's a date of the 30th of July that relates back to a poem of the Last Post as well. So that famous bugle sounding, there's a poem that relates back to that. So I'm getting a bit sidetracked here. And again, we've also got the Carpenters. Yeah, we've had all this reference to the Cars and the Charlie, and we've got the Carpenters here. I haven't even looked at any of this stuff on here. 14, 16. Oh dear. But this November the 29th, okay, 2/5 runtime. November the 29th, we're going to see as well is absolutely loaded, and the number jumps for this particular thing here is absolutely crazy. So we're going to be going through some of this here in just a second. But they make a reference to this in the film. In fact, when he becomes the postman, he kind of makes a reference to this. Okay, he kind of, spoiler alert, what happens in the film is he is sent across a rope bridge, right, to retrieve a guy, and the other side of this rope bridge where he's retrieving this guy from, there's a wild lion. Okay, so he's going into the lion's den. Okay, and he gets the guy back, and as he's coming back across the bridge, what does he do? He tries to escape from this situation that he's in, and he takes a plunge off this rope bridge into the river below. He's man on wire at that point. Yeah, the reference between the twin towers. So he drops off this rope bridge and escapes from this situation that he's in, from the lion's den, so to speak. And he's reborn at that point, and he becomes the postman. What does the postman do? The postman delivers the mail. Okay, the mail. Do you get the wordplay? Man. Okay, the postman delivers that thing, and so you get into this idea also when he becomes the postman of rebirthing the legal system as well, because the legal system needs the post to work, because it's all contracts, it's all written documentation that needs to be moved around. So you need a postal system in order for the legal system to work. So it's also a reset. The film is also referencing the reset not only of man, and but it's also resetting. It's also referencing the reset of the system, the reset of the legal system. Yeah. Your birth certificate gets transferred through this thing. It's a piece of paper. Okay, it's fictional. So this whole thing, not only is it referencing the rebirth of man, it's referencing the rebirth of the matrix, the rebirth of the legal system. Okay, the fictional system, your twin as well. Okay, your fictional twin. I could speak about that for hours. I just really want to get on with the number jumps here because it's pretty interesting. But anyway, he has this rebirth, and then so the first place he comes to in the film is called, I think it's called Pine View. So it's a very, I mean, when we're thinking about Back to the Future and the Twin Pines Mall, Pine View, very similar. And then there's a bunch of numbers on the wall there where he shows up. I think there's a 213 reference. There's also a 276 reference, which is the birth of the 267 reference, which is the birth of the actual post office. There's actually a 67 reference right at the start of the film, which is also to do with not only, let me show you here, not only the 67 here, but also because this is in the 2 column 267 and 29 reference, cross reference, yada yada yada. But this is the start in a gas station, and we'll look at how this ties in with this in just 1 second as well. So there's lots of little. I'm trying to think what the other reference was on that wall. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was a 915 reference as well. So let's do the 915. I guess we'll do the 915 first. But what have we got left here? Let me show you some stuff here. The United States Postal Service. This is the rebooted version of it. They kind of reset it again. And look at the date when this one's formed. Okay, the modern version of the post office. July the 1st, 7/1. Yes, it's Diana's birthday. Okay, 1971. So basically 10 years actually after Diana's birthday. Interesting again. That is interesting, but also the original founding date of the post office, which was July the 26th, 1775. Okay, let's do some number jumps now. Let's use this original date. Then we're going to look at some of the 7171 stuff. So we're already seeing the 71 stuff showing up. So keep your eyes and ears open for the 71 stuff. Don't forget that when we draw the temple in here, yeah, we draw the clock tower temple in, okay, 71, yeah, it's right at the top of this thing, okay, along with the 118 or the 18 or the 1118. Mickey Mouse, this is Pluto. 1117 is a reference to the balance of Pluto. And as I've said before, all these Lucas numbers are heavily to do with Pluto as well. Okay, let's go back to this. Look at this. From the founding of that to the 31st of January this year coming up, it's 2026. Sorry. So this is next year still. It'll be this year pretty soon though. So 31st of January, it's 91500 days. Okay. So we know, this is a pretty ominous number. If you check out We Seek, We Find's channel, you will see a lot of connections with this. He's got tons of connections with this number, 915. Okay. 915 is coming out to the 31st. Now we're going to see this 31st number referenced several more times. Okay. So we need to bear that in mind. What's our next number jump here? This is the release of the film. Okay. Through to 2/13, 2026. On the surface, the 102.77 doesn't look that interesting. 28 years looks interesting. 50 days. Both numbers connected with the Santa Clara Super Bowl there. Click that though. Let's have a look at it. And we see the 9015 this time. So we've still got 915 in the right order numerology there. So that's the release of the film to 2/13. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the character. This is the main love interest for Kevin Costner in the film. So this is the main female character, Olivia Williams. Check out her birthday, the 26th of July, 68. The 26th of July, yeah, the 26th of July, 68. She's got the same birthday as the post office, or the post office. I said the post office, right? She just happens to be. Let's run her birthday through to the actual back to the post office birth. 193 years ago. So there's 193 separating them. Click that 193. What are we seeing? It's the 44th prime. Remember what I was just saying about these dates that we're looking at with the 88-day jump there, with 11/18, 11/17 being our 44 days left in the year, and 2/13, 44 days gone in the year. So this is pretty interesting for sure. Okay. What else we got here, Dan? Come on, we got to do all these number jumps. And I'll tell you what, I could probably done another dozen number jumps in here if I'd wanted to. Okay, I've got Diana. Diana's death through to the release of the film. 117 days. 117. You're going to see why this is important with the original Postman in a minute. What was this one? This is the new post office date, the 17/17 through to 2/13. We've got the 195 numerology in here in this number jump, which I thought was worth talking about. That maybe. I don't think there was anything interesting with this necessarily. No, there wasn't. And I feel like there was. Oh, well, we'll come on to this in just a second. There's a really interesting connection with this in just a second. But I just wanted to. I think I was getting at the 915 reference here still. Okay, showing up just with the new date for the post office. And while we're on the topic of that, this is also when the old post office date goes palindromic, so we carry on a few days to the 18th of February. And 218 is going to be really important. I mean, we already just saw that show up with hey, please Mr. Postman, or whatever it was. Look, the original one, 821 release date, and look at the length of it. Read that number backwards. Yeah, 1 3 13 2. So you've got a 13th of February reverse number there as well. Okay. Let's just go back over here. So okay, I will just say her birthday. Who shows up on that birthday as well? Jason Statham. Okay, Statham. I want to say that right. July the 26th. He's a year older. But that is pretty interesting because he is in our Turner films, loaded films, Guy Ritchie films. So absolutely loaded there. We did this. This is Madonna. This is Diana's death. And in the actual film, they actually go. The first place he shows up to at Pine. Let me see. So he basically becomes a slave in this army. Actually, I could have just stopped it on that point there because that was kind of interesting with the pyramids of stone that they have. Oh well, I'm not going to be able to get that. Let's whiz through just real quick, and it is kind of interesting when at the point when he becomes the postman, there is this little. He finds this lighter in the post van, and actually there's almost a caveman reference in that scene, which is kind of interesting with this kind of idea of the rebirth of man and the rebirth of invention. It's almost like he discovers fire for the first time at that point as well. Oh, let's see if this will get us to. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a shot of the post office so you can just see what we're dealing with here. Of course not. It will show it on the thumbnail, but you can actually just get it on the actual. Let's see if I can find it here. Come on. It'd be nice to show this actually. Okay, Pineview Station. Let's back up a little bit. Back up. Come on. Oh dear. Why? Why can't we just get on that? Back up a bit more. Maybe we can get to it. It's kind of annoying. Because it would have been nice to have. Actually, just play a second of this. Well, he's going into the blooming post office here. I wanted to show you what the post office actually looked like, because it's essentially the clock tower from Back to the Future, you know, the Temple of Diana. And so this is interesting with the whole. This is so annoying. This is why I should have gone through the film and written all these numbers down and got them all figured out. Hang on. There. It's right in the thumbnail there. Let's play just a second of this so we can see. Okay, come on.
Set that flag on fire.
I'm going to get a copyright now. This is painful, Dan. Why are you doing this? Oh dear. There we go. Finally. Oh, I thought it was worth it. It is worth it. You can see you can see the reference here to the clock tower and Back to the Future. I've got exactly 4 columns. We've even got a little spot for where the clock would be. Super important, and they're in Pineview. Okay. Okay. Thank goodness for that. Right. We won't try to find any more bits and pieces in there. Okay. Right. What else? Where do we even get up to on these number jumps? Okay, so we've got her, same date as the post office. Okay, Jason, yes, he's same birthday as well. Very important in films. That one we did. So this is coming out. There's 218 going to see show up quite a bit. Okay, and remember, 218 is the discovery date of Pluto. Okay, remember that whole clock tower is connected to Pluto. Back to the Future is heavily connected to Pluto. Lucas numbers, heavily connected to Pluto. Look at this. Even in the years and the days here to this jump here, 250 years, 208 days. We have 2825 again. That's our Super Bowl day. Cross-referencing back again. It's just round in circles. This is Will Patton, the bad guy. Kevin Costner's the postman, the good guy. This is how many days are between their birthdays. 2, 1, 8. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so you can start seeing the 218 stuff popping up here. We'll probably find a few more 218s here in a minute. But well, let's move on to the original Postmaster General. Okay, come on. Benjamin Franklin. Yes, you'll see his picture as well. And Doc talking to him in Back to the Future. Okay, he's a scientist. Okay, catching the lightning with the kite or whatever he did. I don't know. Or something to do with blooming hot air balloons as well, maybe. I don't know. The connection to France. Yeah, Frank as well. Okay. Birthday. 117. 17. 17 numerology. Yeah, the Frank is to do with the fictional system or the feminine side of reality. Okay. Okay. Right. Actually, and his death, 417. Okay, this 417. This is super duper important as well because in the film, Kevin Costner references Order, I don't know, 417 or something like that. I'm sure he references it a couple of times when he's making up stuff off the top of his head. He references that number. Okay, so it is referenced several times. Also note, if we come down and look at some of these dates, okay, so he was first United States Postmaster General. Get that picture off there. 26th of July. That's our post office starting date. And then look, November the 7th. Okay, 1776. So it's 11/7 again. Okay. And also Postmaster General of British America. This is before it became United States of America, of course. Interesting. August the 10th is popping up. That also is a connection to Herbert Hoover as well. That's his birthday date as well. And also Madonna's Buddy, Desperately Seeking Susan, Rosanna Arquette. Yeah. And look at the end date for that, Jan 31. Okay, 1774. So very interesting as well with those numbers popping up again. Right? I don't really want to spend a whole bunch of time with Franklin. Okay, because I don't know. I don't know if I've got any number. I did have some number jumps for him, but boy, I can't. Boy, oh boy, I can't remember. Look at the 118 here, as he was the president of Pennsylvania, and then November the 5th. Don't forget, yes, Donald Trump as well, reborn on the 5th of November. Okay. Okay. Moving along. So we completely jump now to something fresh. Postman Pat the film. Let me show you Postman Pat the film. Postman Pat the film, okay, has this release date of the 23rd of May, 2014. Look at the 88 minutes. Okay. Now, why is this interesting to me? So you remember I was saying that Postman Pat was my dad, right? This is the release of that film through to 131. Now, if I read this in reverse now, this number 2724 is my old home telephone number. Okay, so this becomes very interesting. You know, this is another personal reference, but it's very interesting that number shows up. We've had that number show up several times with Madonna as well in the past. Okay, so that's another little thing that's kind of interest here. Right. We will come back onto the Postman Pat film in a minute. There's a really mental connection with that film. Okay, and in fact, this isn't the really mental one, but we will come back. This is part of that. This is 5/16/68. This is the guy in the film who is Postman Pat, who's doing the voiceover for Postman Pat. His name, I've got him up here somewhere. Where's he gone? No, it's right here. Stephen Mangan. Okay, 16th of May, 68. He even looks a bit like he should be Postman Pat if you've ever seen it, doesn't he? I don't know. Anyway, this date. This is the dude playing Postman Pat in the film. Note that the 16th of May is also Pierce Brosnan's birthday. The guy that does the dam jump, yeah, in GoldenEye. That's the film where we have the train smash up as well with the tank. There's a little reference to. We're going to do some little sort of sideline references here about how these sort of films overlap. But 5/16, this is going to be important as well in a minute with some numbers in the table. Okay. Anyway, his birthday. Where was we at? We was down here somewhere. Let's see. Can't remember now. This is why I could do with some. Look at the 218 showing up here. This is his birthday through to 131/26. 21080. So we have the 218 showing up again in here. This is important. This 218, the 218 with Pluto is super duper important, right? Let's go to this one. This is his birthday through to Olivia. Okay, was it Olivia? What was her name? Olivia Williams. Okay, 71 days. 7-1. Yeah. So now we've got 7-1 with the original Postman. Yeah. Okay. Don't forget the stork delivers the baby as well. Like the postman is obviously is often, the stork is often sort of connected with the postman. That imagery. So 7-1, like Diana, like the goddess, the temple, all these connections back to the temple now, and Franklin. Okay. We actually got another number jump with this dude as well later. Okay, so just okay, this is pretty crazy. This is now we're on to Benjamin Franklin with the British America Post job here, which is 99533. I just thought it was an interesting looking number through to 213. Remember, Christmas is the 359th day of the year. So that looked interesting. And from the end of that job through to the 131 is exactly 252 years. Now, that is heavily referencing Back to the Future, of course. And again, our 25 reference was from 114, which is actually in the film as well, I'm sure of it. At some point, they reference 114, or there's a 114 in the background. And I want to say that 25-day jump from 114 was our, I think it was our 213 date that it came to. I don't know, I showed that in the last video there, okay, or was it 28 that went to, I can't remember, 213 I think. Okay, and that is the Cup of Christ, that number there, okay, you know, with the 25s, and obviously the 25th. of December. Christmas. Right, what else have we got here? Come on, Dan. What was this one? Hang on a minute. What was I just looking at here? 10:53 to 2:13, and this is now to 1:31. 259. The 259. I probably need to show you why this 259 is super duper important. I think we may have gone by that actually. May have we gone by it? I don't know. Where the hell have I got that in here? It's actually coming up. So this 952259 reference that's in here with this number jump. Let me see if I can find this. This is probably some of these number jumps I should have done actually earlier than this one. This is Kevin Costner's birthday through to 26. Now I'm referencing this 26 date here because number one, he's palindromic. So this is connecting back with this number jump we just looked at, right? With the 259, with the 99, right? This number jump. Ben Franklin's original job with the 131, right? So we've got this 259 reference there, which is now referencing to the palindromic 25952 from Kevin Costner's birthday through to 26. Now, I know you're saying, this is super convoluted, Dan. Now you're just picking out 26. Why the hell are you picking out that number? Remember I showed you at the start of the film when he's ziplining down off the dam at whatever it was, 2 hours, whatever it was 26:26 in the film, okay, whatever that numerology was, right? 2 hours, 6 minutes and 26 seconds. Is that what it was? I don't know. Okay. Bear this in mind. From the beginning of the new post office, which is 7171, through to Will Patton's birthday, the 6/14, it's 17 years, 17 days. From the 1717 reference here, 17 years, 17 days to his birthday, and look at this. That is 6226 palindromic, with the 26. Okay, so this looks fairly interesting to me. Connection with that film, right? So going out to this 26 date now, looks like that could be fairly relevant, with him coming off the dam with the zip line, and with him, and obviously the connection when he comes off that dam, the connection is the feminine, his love interest is right there at that point as well, looking, right? Because as I said, they show a couple of spots where he zips off there, obviously they take the shot from a different angle. I don't know what the timestamp would be on that as well. So this is Kevin Costner's birthday through back to the post office, the original post office. 65555. Unbelievable. 179 years. Okay, that numerology that can connect back to Benjamin Franklin as well. But look, 177 days. That is the run length of the film. 177 days. So from 118 to 726, 177 days. The run length of the film. Crazy, isn't it? And this particular number here, the 65. You've got to remember, this whole thing. The 55 is super duper important, right? 55 is just mental, right? This 10 column here to do with Christmas, because this is the point where we got that Christmas reference here. 55, the 10th Fibonacci number, 55. In fact, if you total up Fibonacci up to the 9th point, it's 88 at that point, the total for that point, Again with the 952, let me just re-reference the 952 here. actually, before we reference 952, just remember that the two towers that we're dealing with, which is the metaphysical and the physical, yeah, they're headed out by the numbers 5 and 6. Okay, 5 and 6. Anyway, drop back down here and just take a quick look at this corner of this chart, right? The total up to this point, if I total up to 364, if I add all these numbers back along here, apart from this total right here, get rid of that a minute. That's just an in-between total for the 10 column, these grey ones here, right? So this, if we total up to the 11 here, our total is 952. So our cross-reference for this 952 is 364 as well, 364, or 11 5, 511. That's our start date. We go 88 days, brings us to 131. And also remember Postman Pat in this film, yeah, his birthday is the 16th of May. Okay, so it's just see how these numbers sort of cross-reference each other. Absolutely crazy. What else did I want to show? Right, what other numbers we got in here, Dan? Because we're going to need to backtrack a little bit here because we missed a few here, and this, I mean, this is just crazy as well. Let me show you this. Right, what was this one? Okay, we did that one. Right, that was Benjamin Franklin numbers here, and throughout to number. Yeah, there's our 952 stuff again there. This one. Okay, so in the film, the Dam City dude is Tom Petty. Okay, interesting choice to put in the film. And what is interesting about the release of the film itself, if we do the release of the film through to the 26 as well, this random number that I just picked out of there, you know, okay, we come up with, there's a number jump here, and it's 10271. Now, Tom Petty's death date is 10/2/17. Absolutely mental that numerology. I know, yes, the 7-1 is around the other way, the 17 and 71 mixed up here, but absolutely crazy that number jump kind of corresponds with Tom Petty's death date. Okay, and it's 28 years 44 days. You can just see that. Let's just take that off of there just so you can see 28 years 44 days as well. 28 and 44. Super duper interesting. And again, remember Tom Petty has the 10/20 birthday, same as Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg just did a Christmas halftime show. Everybody's like loving it because it wasn't. It was kind of it was more appropriate really for a halftime show. Okay, there was a little bit of everything for somebody in there. It wasn't, you know, boobies flopping out everywhere and all the rest of it. It's usually in an NFL halftime show. So it was interesting that Snoop Dogg was doing that, and Snoop Dogg himself, I think I've got his number jump in here. Yeah, Snoop Dogg also shares that numerology. Yeah, 10. There's the 2, and then the 7-1. So this connection with Tom Petty, with the death. So let me explain this again. So you look at this. This is also Snoop Dogg's birthday numbers here. Just got to add another 0 in this. So you have 10, 20, 71. So it's connecting with Tom Petty that's in the film, and also Snoop Dogg, who's not even in the film, but Snoop Dogg heavily ties to 213. Okay, if you've seen some of my old decodes to do with Snoop Dogg, you know, Dr. Dre and all the rest of it, 213 is just like encoded like crazy. Anyway, that's Snoop Dogg. That's his number jump, right, to 213. Let's look at it. 2244 prime. Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland on Super Bowl. We were looking at all the 24s connecting in there with the 2-8 Super Bowl this year, and his and some 213 stuff, and Snoop Dogg's also connecting in there. And just out of interest, if you go back to Christmas, look what he was on Christmas. Palindromic on Christmas as well, 19791. So very interesting doing that halftime show for whatever game that was. I can't remember now. Okay, what else? There was a 259 palindromic for him with the 26 as well. There's our 26 reference. The new post office to Will Patton's birthday. The 65 there. Postman Pat, I'm not going to actually do any number jumps. There were some interesting number jumps with Postman Pat, but I subsequently lost them. And there's a bunch of dates to go from here, Anyway, we're not going to worry about it today. But one interesting thing to, where is he? Here he is. Created by John Cunliffe. I don't know how you say that. But anyway, developed by Ivor Wood. What a name, Ivor Wood. Okay. Just check out his death date. October the 14th, 2004. Super loaded. May 4th, fairly loaded as well. May the 4th be with you. But he also did the Magic Roundabout. We had all these connections with the Magic Roundabout and Charlie Kirk. And the dude that connected him, I mean, I might have talked about him before, Charlie Kirk, I can't remember now. 14th of October. So this connection here. So he did was in doing the Magic Roundabout and also doing Postman Pat. So it's like Ivor Wood. What a crazy name that is. Okay. I've got one more thing for this character here, Stephen. Let's see if he's coming up next. No, he's not. So we're going to actually backtrack. This is the death again of Tom Petty. Okay. And if you recall, how do I explain this? So, yes, in GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan, who has the 5/16th birthday, same as Postman Pat there. No, it's not GoldenEye. Is it GoldenEye? No, it's GoldenEye. It's GoldenEye with the tank scene. GoldenEye with the tank scene. The number on the tank is 343, and the tank destroys the train, and there's an absolute ton of connections in there, and that connects to Madonna. Heavily connects to Madonna, that scene. So Tom Petty's death through to 131, we have that tank number showing up. That, there's other, we could talk about this number all day long, 343, okay? It's a super interesting number anyway, but I'm just tying this back with Madonna because there is another post-apocalyptical film called Tank Girl with Laurie Petty, no relation to Tom Petty, same surname though, and she is Tank Girl, okay? And she's playing a character that very much reminds me of Madonna, okay? The voice, the kind of look even, very Madonna-ish. Again, it's post-apocalyptical, and her birthday is also a 10/14. And Madonna ended up starting her celebration tour on 10/14. Yeah. So we're rounding circles with these numbers, but you can see, all of a sudden the 10/14 showing up, and then we're thinking about zip lining off the dam, like zip lining, like Doc zip lining, like Erica Kirk zip lining, and it's just, okay. But there was just this marginal reference here with Tom Petty and Laurie Petty and all the rest of that stuff, okay? And of course, and you can go around and there's probably links with Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. And you can probably link that back in with, and of course in Back to the Future, that whole scene with the hoverboard scene is to do with the baseball game, the game of baseball there, and batter up, Griff's character. And so Madonna and Laurie Petty were in whatever that film was. I can't remember. A League of Their Own. Okay, so I mean, I could spend an hour. You could really link into other films quite easily, I'm sure, connecting these characters up. I have no idea what the hell this is. I don't even know what the reference is here. Why the hell that's even in there? It seems like it's just a random number. What's this? Anything interesting? I don't know what that is. I don't know where that's even come from. I think that's just random. Forget that. Herbert Hoover. Yeah, here's the August the 10th and the October the 20th. In fact, I saw a video just by Raw Repent talking about Home Alone 2. Herbert Hoover's referencing Home Alone 2, and of course they got the Wet Bandits in Home Alone 2. And as I was watching Raw Repent's video, picked out some stuff. He was, I guess, looking at different connections there, but you could definitely see that 213 is referenced in that film, just with the clips that he had on his thing. Maybe I'll go over that video and do another video of it. So I'm going to round this out now. For some reason, I do not have, maybe it's coming up down here at the end. I'm trying to find this last Postman Pat reference. Before we, I wonder if it's right here. Hang on a minute. What's this? Yes, this is it here. Let's do this one first, and then we'll backtrack. So this was the Carpenters release date. In fact, I think I've got two here for the Carpenters. Anyway, so firstly, this is the release date for the Carpenters' Please Mr. Postman, right? Through to 213. 18704. What the hell? Nothing with that, right? Click it. It is the 16568 composite number. This is absolutely mental. This is this dude's birthday. Postman Pat, where are you? Come on. Here he is. Yeah? 16568. Yeah? The 16th of May, 68. 16th of May, 68. That's mental. Absolutely crazy. Mr. Postman. I mean, how is that even possible? Right, okay. What's this one? This is the Carpenters through to the 31st now. Okay, let's see if there's something interesting there with that one. It's interesting with the car as well. The Carpenters, all the car references. Let's look at this one. Yes, we've seen this number pop up before. Look, 2134 prime. These are the first four digits of Lucas numbers here, and it's a prime. This is a super loaded number. Absolutely mental. That's crazy beyond belief. That little link there, just with this dude, Postman Pat. That could just be a video by itself, right there. Okay, what else we got here, Dan? Channel Tunnel. Channel Tunnel. Why are we on the Channel Tunnel? That's kind of interesting because in the film they reference the lion. Anyway, Channel Tunnel, May 6th, 94. We've talked about how this could connect to Madonna before. Let me just show you something. I just happened to randomly notice this. That the May 6th, 94 through to 213 is 11606 days. And I happen to notice that this actually should have been in the last video, because we were talking about Back to the Future 3. This is the release date for Back to the Future 3 through to Madonna's birthday. Now, I don't know if I've shown this in a video before or not. There's a high chance that I have shown it, but not in connection with each other. Back to Madonna's birthday is 11606. Same numbers. In fact, I was going to show this in the Greg Biffle video, because he drives, or at least he uses the number 16. I don't know if he drives car 16 or something like that anyway. So that's 16, the 16 reference, okay? But exact same number jump, just different dates there, but interesting stuff. What does that mean? I don't know. But if something were to happen, let's say with Madonna at the Channel Tunnel, you know, you can maybe connect back now the Channel Tunnel to that day, and you can check this day, you know, back to the future. You know what I mean? Who knows what it's really showing? It's just a connection, right? I don't know what the final play is there with that, but it's an interesting connection. Yeah, but those last two there, absolutely mental. I think we'll call it a day, because that's probably way over an hour. Like I said, there's about 4 or 5 other number jumps that really I needed to show in there, and there's a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces of connections, you know. I mean, even if you go back to like Snoop Dogg, hang on a minute, let me just show you something with Snoop Dogg. Look, where the hell did he go? Snoop Dogg, right? Even if you go back to him now, I don't want to talk about Snoop Dogg now, but drop that back down to the 13th. You'll notice there's 1984 in there. Now that is pretty crazy just in itself there, just having that reference. And I feel like there was like some other, what else am I thinking here? I think I'm going to call it a day on it. I mean, it's just the 1-7, the 218 references, the 1-7 references over and over and over again. The connections back to Madonna. I feel like I had a couple of other things I need to say, but yeah, just crazy stuff. I believe I had, and I believe did I have anything else in here? Let's just double check this. No, we did this, and I think I want to say Michael Douglas's birthday is the 25th of September, maybe, because there was just some recent. I'd noticed some recent stuff with him as well, with some interesting bits and pieces to do with Sharon Stone and everything coming up, and gone by already as well. But I think his birthday, so we've had some interesting stuff with him for sure. So that is interesting that there's a connection with his birthday there, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really desperately wanted to mention in here. Not really. Okay. You can see though that Kevin Costner is pretty darn important right here with that, and it is interesting noting this when he first gets conscripted into his bad situation, into this bad army. They reference the pyramids, the idea of going into Egypt, I suppose, or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Okay, I'm leaving it there because it's just wiffle waffle now. Postman Pat. Oh, the last thing, the last post. Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily use this as much in America, but probably most of you Americans out there know this. But yeah, this is this bugle that sounds, you know, often in memory of the deceased. Okay, so that's kind of where it's more or less become a thing now. So it's interesting with the sounding of the trumpets. Yeah. Well, we're not going to play it though, but you know the one, right? It's way too loud. you know that one, okay? The last trumpet, the trumpet, the last post. Interesting. Okay. Was there any other post references? Post. After the end, yeah? That's it. Done. I'll catch you on another one soon. Alright. Cheers. Bye. God bless.